friends. Today we're going to take a few minutes and talk through an annotated bibliography and how to actually create a document that is useful for you in your own writing. Now, if you're coming out of a K-12 system or recently out of high school, you might have practiced this idea of writing notes on note cards or summarizing articles using a silver dollar method or another means of writing on your document, and then using that information to try to create a research report or a research paper. This is the college version of that same process, but actually done in a way that can be useful to you. I know that when I did that research report eons ago in high school and I had to write out my little quotes on index cards, I actually wrote my whole paper and then faked all my index cards in reverse because the process didn't make any sense and wasn't useful for me. And I don't want you to go through another process where you are doing that same thing, because that defeats the whole purpose of it. So let's talk through creating an annotated bibliography that is actually useful for us as we are doing our research report here in this class, and hopefully for future topics. One of the reasons, before I start writing my notes here, to do an annotated bib, and when you're thinking about research that you're doing in not only this class but in future classes, is pick a topic or a topical area that are all interrelated or connected. So if you're going into nursing, it might be an issue or topic specific to the nursing career or condition or practice or procedure, condition, what have you, that relates to medicine, nursing. If you're looking at aviation, something similar to that, picking subject and topic areas so that every time you have to go write a research report, you're not starting from square zero all over again. You actually already have a foundation of research that you know is out there. That doesn't mean use the same research articles again and again and again. It means that you already have a foundation of understanding built on a topic that you can talk on and become the expert in that particular subject. So that's just a tip from somebody who wrote a dissertation that did all my papers leading up to my dissertation on things related to my dissertation topic. Saved me a lot of time, and I finished in 4 years, which is a lot faster than a lot of people I know. As I will tell you again and again in class, work smarter, not harder. So, annotated bibliography. What is it and how do we use it? So the very first thing that we're always going to do in our annotated bib as we're creating what we call our different entries is write up our MLA works cited entry piece for our different sources. Now, you might find that you're doing this for a different subject, so maybe you'll use APA format versus MLA. But format your source entry in that MLA formatting. Now, easy way to do this is go use EasyBib or another one, a NoodleBib, of those programs that pre-does this for you. It saves you a lot of the time from having to look up in a book and copy down this format, and you might get a mistake, do something wrong. Use one of those formatting tools, plug in your information, it auto-creates that source for you. So we have our MLA thing. Now, next thing you're going to do after we figure out what our source is, we actually need to put this information in a way that is usable for us. So this is where, for me personally, I like using bullet points. Let's give a summary, our highlights of the concepts, of the points, of the ideas, the design, whatever it is that is useful in this particular article or this source. But whatever it is that you have found this particular source for, what is it that you're getting out of it, or what is the most useful information? I think in bullet points. That's why I use kind of this idea here is all of my bullet points. But put it in a way that is useful for you. Next thing we're going to do is, if in our article, when we were reading through and highlighting, we found a particular quote that we thought was really useful, we're going to take and put in our direct quotes. So direct quote line. And make sure quote, direct quote goes in there, our closing quote, and then we put our last name. Not your last name, the author's last name. And our period. So direct quote, doing that. Same thing for a paraphrase. Paraphrases, we don't use the quote marks, but we're still using their information and just putting it in our own words. And for me, I like keeping all this information organized. So I first have my MLA entry, then I put my bullet points of my highlights, main concepts, ideas, design features, whatever it is that I found that was useful. Then I go and put my direct quotes, and then I put my paraphrases, and I already have them pre-formatted so that when I take this information, I, in essence, set up two Google Docs side by side. I have my formatting, my framework done over here. I go copy, paste, I move the information from this document over to here to the relevant space, and I save myself time from having to figure out what goes where, and I'm not just looking at blank space trying to figure out what do I do with this stuff now. The last thing I do after I have got my MLA formatted source entry, my bullet points, and my quotes and my paraphrases, I have my own little paragraph. I'm going to just start over here for a little bit more space than writing down here. I write a little note to myself of how am I going to use this data? Notes. So how am I going to use this? And one of the things that I do is I create some keywords. And I just create like a little bullet, and I put keywords and then colon or dash. And I say the key concepts, keywords I'm looking at over here are this, that, and the other thing. So if we're working off of one of the workplace scenarios, we're looking at smoking and vaping in the workplace, I might put state laws, employment laws or employment policies. I might have one that is related to smoking and vaping regulations, or just regulations in general. I might have workplace policy. I might have something I just call legal, but if there's court cases or things that I come across, I might just use the word legal to kind of cover that umbrella of topics. Now, if I was looking at what's one of the other scenarios? The scenario where we're looking at creating an autonomous drone to do some underwater searching for us, I might be looking at different kinds of keywords like designs, purposes. In our particular scenario, we're going out and finding science relics, fossils, that kind of a thing. So if one of the research articles that we found out there, I might have something like budget, research, fossils, findings, since this particular one is you're creating an independent research proposal, I might have something about independent research. I'm just going to say props because I'm running out of space. But you get the idea. I've found a way to not only create my source entry and kind of the highlights of this piece and sift it out and got the useful quotes, the useful paraphrases. I've written a note to myself about how I'm going to use that data, and then I've identified, what are the key words in this, so that as I'm perusing through and looking back on my framework that I've designed for my document, I know from the keywords that I've put into each of these entries which of these articles is going to be useful for which of those headings or those pieces in our actual research paper. So as I said, when you have your annotated bibliography done, take that, put both documents side by side on your computer, and look at how this information fits into the framework of your paper that you've designed. Use that keyword piece as a way to give you markers or indicators to know which articles are going to be helpful for which areas of your paper. I hope that gives you a good idea for how to use your annotated bib. When you've got this all done, one of the easy things we do with annotated bibs is we put all of our entries into alphabetical order. And that just makes it easier for us to sort through the information as we're reading through to see how this goes. And just mental note, because we're working in often Google Docs, copy and paste rather than cut and paste. That way you still have your annotated bib in a format that you can use in future articles and research if you find that you're working on this subject or the subject area again in the future. So copy and paste rather than cut and paste, and you've already got some research done for the next project you have on your list. Hope this was helpful for you. If you have any questions, always ask, and I'll see you in class.